Houston. It kind of speaks for itself, right? Like you know what the type of fight you're getting into as you get in there. You guys have had some games where you've played them close. You've had some games where they've had their way. How do you approach it this time? Any different than the past, or just put your boots on and go to work?
Yeah, I think their success speaks for itself. In the last the 4 years that I've competed against them, it speaks completely for itself, and it's not. Their success hasn't been exclusive to playing against Cincinnati. It's been against everybody in the country. I think they've won more games in the last 4 years than anybody in college basketball. So it speaks for itself. They second Big 12 title, regular season speaks for itself. We know how hard the league is. We just have to have a great prep and go down there and compete. And I think it's that simple.
What makes their half-court defense and that entire unit so difficult to break down?
Yeah, they're physical. They throw a lot of bodies at the ball. Their hands are very, very active. And, you know, there's a lot of familiar faces, right? So it's guys that have been doing it there for a long time that understand their principles and their rotations. They obviously have a very principle-based defense. It's very consistent over a long period of time, but it's not just the principles, it's the way they bring them to life with their activity that I think is difficult for opponents.
You mentioned before Coach Williams with your teams would take the buckets off and just practice going after the ball. Is
That happened once, but yeah.
Well, that's a mention.
Yeah.
I mean, is it? I don't even know how you prepare for these guys, and I'm just
It's just
guessing
a game.
what you do.
It's a game in the Big 12. You know, again, their success speaks for itself. We have tremendous respect, but it's a game, and you prepare the same. You prepare for every game. Like as Chad mentioned in his question, we played against them a number of times in the last 3 years, and there's a couple games where we've been right there within maybe with the lead in the last minute one time down there. So. I'm not saying we've had success, because success would be winning games against them, but it's not like we haven't had moments we were able to compete, and we didn't do anything out of the ordinary in those moments or in those games to prepare for. So you prepare like we prepare for games all year. These guys on our team at this point have played a number of big games against really, really good opponents and in really tough environments, and we're going to have to rely on that experience and wisdom.
Has Dylan Mitchell, do you think, tapped into anything differently over the past few games with how efficient he's been and just his major impact at both ends?
Yeah, I think it's probably the boring answer, but he's consistently improving. Like I don't think that like in the last week he's a different guy. I think he just every week, every couple weeks when you look back, he looks like he's just added something or found a little more confidence in a certain area of his game, and we've talked about that here. All year that like he's a great player, but there's so much more in there, and getting out there, making mistakes, continuing to gain confidence in other areas that maybe he didn't have experience in as a college player. It's going to get better and better as the year goes on, and I think that's been the case. Like he just seems to get more comfortable in different spots on the floor, and he keeps improving.
Simas played 17 minutes after missing 2 games. How did he feel the next day, or how is he feeling now after getting back to playing?
Yeah, it didn't get worse, which that was one of the questions we had as a staff too, because he practiced the day before our game against Baylor. But day before the game in February, guys, we're not killing each other as much as I'd love to go out there and practice like that every day. But he did. He practiced for an hour and 20 minutes or so going into the Baylor game. And made it through, which was a good sign. And then he, like you said, he played 17 minutes in a Big 12 game, and woke up the next day. And I don't think we've had any setbacks that I'm aware of as of now.
When you look at the way they played, maybe through the first half of conference play compared to the past 2 or 3 weeks, and watching them, it feels like Milos Uzan has really elevated his play. How much does that maybe change them? Not that they needed it, but giving them even another offensive option. I think he scored 22 against Texas Tech. That he's not just a guy that's blending in anymore. He's starting to be a guy that's standing out for them.
Yeah, he's like you can see him finding his role within their team as league plays continued, and we know how good he is because we played against him in Oklahoma last year, and he was a huge piece of what they were doing. We played him twice last year, so yeah, I think beyond just that, I mean, I agree. You know, I'm not going to just say what you said; it's all accurate. Beyond that, I think one of the things that makes this Houston team, you know, so dynamic is the three-point shooting. You know, and Uzan has a lot to do with that, especially the way he's shooting it here recently. But you know, between Cryer, Uzan, and gosh, he's the best shooter in the country. And Sharp, yeah. I mean, like between those three, you know, they're one of the best three-point shooting teams in the country. And for all the things they've done well here over the last handful of years, they not like they haven't been able to shoot the ball, but they haven't been in that kind of a category in three-point shooting. So I think those three make them a little different in terms of their offensive attack because of the way that they shoot the ball and how consistent it's been over the course of the year. And as you mentioned, Uzan's finding the different rhythm there, and I think that makes them even more dynamic.
Chairman, Wes, there's a lot of talk about. That's fine. I'll just talk about Houston. Obviously, what they are, what they bring, and the challenge in them. But for your team, what do you like about your team in a game like this that they can just go there, not just go there to compete, but to win this game?
Yeah, I think our team over the last 3 weeks or so, they've reset. You know, they hit the reset button in a really healthy way, and they've always been working, but they're working with more intention. They're playing with more confidence. They're playing more connected on both ends. And I think that looks like they're playing harder. I don't know if I would say that because I don't think we weren't not playing hard, but there's more life in their play collectively. And I think that started with the mindset shift. And we have to continue to do that and build on that. We can't think we've arrived. We've won a handful of games. We got to go back in the gym today and practice. It's the boring stuff, guys. But the good stuff in basketball is the boring stuff. I mean, that's what the good stuff comes from. So we got to keep embracing the day-to-day approach. They got to keep embracing the mentality that they've had here recently, and it's a great opportunity to go play I mean, if we're going to play the right way and work the right way and be about the right things, I think we can play against and with anybody in America. And so it wouldn't matter where we're going. You know, it's a great opportunity, but it's a road game in the Big 12 against a team that's already clinched the Big 12 regular season. It's a great opportunity.
Just a quick follow-up. I fixed the mic, by the way. TV guys should be able to figure that out.
You were actually holding it when it wasn't working. That's a TV thing. That's good. He's practicing.
I'm going to get there one day. You talked about what's changed the last few weeks, and you guys are always playing hard. And there was some made of dodgeball practice and all these other things that people are trying to figure out. What was the fix? What was the change? Was there a conversation, Wes, with this team? One of those moments where you guys met and felt like it was going to be different after that point?
Yeah, I think that we sat down as a group, and again, I think we hit the reset button, right? Like, I think you can care too much sometimes, you know, where it can have a negative impact on performance. And I think, you know, the guys care, man, and they were down about the position that we were in league play, as we all were, right? No doubt about that. And I think there was a collective decision that we're going to hit the reset button, and that there's a handful of ways we could go from here from an approach, but what's the one that makes the most sense? Well, let's go damn do that. Like, it wasn't real complex, but I think this group is committed to that to date, and we got to continue to. And I think when we've done that, we've played better basketball.
Everybody knows about Juwan Roberts and his 15-year career at Houston, but Tugler has really, alongside him, been kind of a major impact and kind of that guy that complements him. How do you talk to the guys about keeping a body on him with how active, and he's got, what, a 7'4" wingspan or whatever, how active and long and aggressive he plays?
Yeah, he was such an impactful guy a year ago. When he went down, I thought that affected their team, right? Because going back and watching our games against them last year, he made some plays on us, like shots that you mentioned his wingspan, the shot you may finish. You know, the CMOS had a layup in transition at their place last year early in the game that it's a shot that is a basket. In every other game you play against everybody else, and Tugler goes up and gets it, because he's got not just the length but timing, and that timing affects shot blocking, his rim protection, and it certainly affects all of his rebounding on both offense and defense. He's got a great knack to the ball. And you mentioned amongst a bunch of other guys that have that. It's like Roberts. I saw him, I think 2 years ago, we did media day out in Kansas City, and I saw him in Shed, and I feel like I've been seeing him in Shed. I felt like I've been seeing those guys since I was playing. That's how long they were doing it. And then this year I go back there and Roberts is still there, and I'm going, damn, is he going to be here for the next decade type of thing? Because he's been that good, guys. He's been that good of a player. He's as good of a player as we have in the Big 12.
I think Hugs coached against him.
What's that?
I think Hugs
Hugs,
coached
yeah.
against him when he was here.
Yeah, the Terry Nelson and those guys. Yeah. No, but he guys like that make you feel that way because they've been so good for so long. We're saying it respectfully. I mean, he's been so good for so long. It makes you feel like he's been around for forever. And he is a senior now, right?
Maybe.
Yeah,
And
he's
maybe the
just
thing
a-
is, it's not that he's been good, but he's gotten also the level of improvement year over year with him has been impressive.
Same thing you've seen with Tugler, right? It's consistent.
I think Texas Tech got 34 free throws in the one win down there against Houston. Would you feel pretty good if you could get to the stripe that many times?
Yeah. If we can get to the free throw line 34 times, that'd be great.
Josh Reed, just overall, was there a point this season in practice or just any kind of moment that made you really boost your confidence in thinking I can start running plays for him? He can be the guy that can fill in for an injured starter off the bench, or has it just been kind of a slow progression that's gotten him here?
It's more slow. I think the honest answer is, Josh has consistently mentioned guys on the opposing team, consistent improvement. He's consistently improved here over the course of his time here. Like, it's been steady and consistent. He hasn't regressed. He on this year's team, the one thing over the course of the non-conference and early in the league was you just had confidence that if you put him in, he would be in the right places, add to your defense and your rebounding, because of his consistent improvement, his experience already. So he was in a position that, because of how he practices every day and the experience he has, that you feel really comfortable putting him in games. And the more he played, the better he did. Again, I said this, I think, after our last game. We grade every player defensively after every game. He's won the defensive award, had the best grades more than anybody on our team by 2. He's been that good defensively. And so it was the little things that earned him more playing time, like the reliable things. And then the more playing time, you see the confidence start to evolve, and that's the work that he's put in. He had a great summer. He was about as consistent this summer with his work ethic as anybody on our team. It's quiet. He's not broadcasting it, but he had a great summer, great work ethic, and now you start to see some of that skill set when he gets more opportunity. It's been kind of fun to see.
When you talk about defensive grades, as much as you'd like to reveal, what kind of goes into that? What are the metrics or the points of emphasis that you guys as the staff put on game to game?
Yeah, like we have all the different principles in our defense, and when they play their principles at a high level, they get marked with a good. When they make a mistake, they get marked with a bad. If it's kind of neither, they don't really get anything. And then there's some values that we really have defensively, things that we really value that maybe aren't a principle. When they do those things, excellent. So it's a good to bad ratio. We want guys to be 2 to 1. They can't win the award unless they're 2 to 1, and the best ratio wins. And Josh has won that award more than anybody on our team.
Scott, last one.
And as a competitor, do you enjoy being the underdog, the challenge of it?
I just enjoy competing. I think it's like there's so many, awesome parts to what I get to do for a living and my job. There's some hard parts too, but there's some awesome parts to it. And one of the things that's awesome is competing. So I don't think about this position or just the chance to go out and compete. That's to be able to still do that in your 40s, like it brings out the kid in you. So I enjoy competition. And if I ever stop enjoying competition, my butt won't be coaching anymore. But I love the competition. It's one of the things. There's a lot of things I love about the job. Got another opportunity to do that on Saturday, which is one of the neat parts about this league.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Wes.